We here at the Sports History Network proudly partner with 26 podcasts, all revolving around the history of sports. But did you know that many of our hosts were sports history authors way before they started their shows? It's true. We've got Joe Ziemba, host of When Football Was Football, Joe Zagurski, host of Pro Football in the 1970s, Mark Morthier, host of Yesterday's Sports, Tommy Phillips, host of Lombardi Memories, and Scott Adamson, co-host of From the 55-Yard Line. All these authors have many books for you to choose from. To check them out, go to our website at sportshistorynetwork.com/sportshistorybooks. Pick up your copy today. Soundtrack provided by Kevin MacLeod of filmmusic.io.
It's always great when we can remember one of the great stars of early football on their birthday, and we're going to do that with Ernie Vick on this July 2nd as a great college football and professional football player, as well as playing another sport too. We'll have his story coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pigpen, your portal to positive football history. And we're going to talk about a college football Hall of Famer, a real stud of an athlete, a two-sport star in Ernie Vick. Now, he was a Michigan four-letterman playing in the position of center from 1918 to 1921. Ernie Vick claimed his date of birth on July 2nd, 1900, and that's why we are going to celebrate this day, because this episode is airing on July 2nd, and celebrating his birth, some 122 years ago at the time of this airing. And he was born in Toledo, Ohio. Now, he played some gridiron in high school at Scott High in Toledo before moving on to the collegiate level with the Wolverines of the University of Michigan. Ernie was a standout on the Wolverine team from 1918 to 1921, and he was named an All-American for Fielding Yost, the head coach of the team in 1921 squad, and became one of the U of M's greatest centers despite his comparatively small structure. The National Football Foundation says that Ernie was an outstanding blocker and tackler, and so much so that it brought him national attention from coaches and experts all across the country. His coach, Fielding Yost, is quoted as saying, quote, "He is the most accurate passer from center that has ever put a ball into play. Under pressure, he was dependable at all times," end quote. Now that says a lot, because Fielding Yost, remember, had those point-a-minute offensive teams where they would average almost 60 points a game, a point a minute, for those U of M great squads of the early 20th century. Now, he's a big-time coach like Yost is talking up one of his players and saying he may be one of the greatest centers of all time, and his name's in early football that has some good things to say about Vick. Well, he's not the only one, because there's a guy by the name of Walter Camp. You might have heard of him. Well, Camp placed Vick on his 1921 All-America team at that position of center. And the father of football said this, in quote, "He is the only man who has throughout the season added great power and aggressiveness to steadiness and consistency," end quote. Walter Camp. Now, it wasn't just football that Vick was talented at either. He was the captain of the Michigan baseball squad, headed by Coach Ray L. Fisher in 1921, and he made it in the MLB after graduation too. Now, Vick was 21 years old when he broke into big leagues on June 29th, 1922, with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he played 4 years in the big leagues from 1922 to 1926, all with the St. Louis as a catcher. This legendary sports star status climbs even higher when we learn that the catcher for St. Louis Cardinals baseball squad that year, he won, as well as his other teammates, the 1926 World Series. So in 1925, he decided to use his athletic skill to play football professionally too. That season, he signed on as a center with the Detroit Panthers and then spent about a season and a half with the Chicago Bears before playing the latter half of the 1928 season back in Detroit. Ernie Vick received the great honor of being selected for inclusion in the College Football Hall of Fame in 1983, and Vick later worked as a football official for the Big Ten Conference. He spent 22 years working games for the conference before retiring in 1953. He even worked in that same capacity in a couple of big Rose Bowl games during his officiating career. So quite a well-rounded individual, Ernie Vick, one of those names that maybe has been forgotten by everybody outside of Ann Arbor and maybe St. Louis. But what a tremendous athlete he must have been, to be a great champion and an All-American in college football, captain of the baseball team in Michigan, makes the MLB, wins the World Series as a starting catcher, plays in the NFL for a couple different squads, and goes into the College Football Hall of Fame, some 60 years after his playing time. So just a tremendous athlete. Glad that we were able to bring some memory of him on his birthday on July 2nd, and hope you enjoyed this little bit of football history. Join us each and every day for more as we talk about it every day on Pigskin Dispatch and on Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. You can find us at pigskindispatch@gmail.com for emails of feedback. Pigskindispatch.com is our website, and you can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at Pigskin Dispatch. Till tomorrow, everybody, have a great gridiron day. Peeking up at the clock, the time's running down. We're going to go into victory formation, take a knee, and let this baby run out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next podcast. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Jean Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so
retro
it was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
flowers.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.